So I figure for January 1st of 2025, we will talk about the most toxic and the most draining and the most awful relationship that I've ever had and that I will always have, and that is my relationship with alcohol. First of all, I want to make a disclaimer before any of you guys go crazy nuts. This is going to be probably a triggering warning. If you struggle with alcohol, if you struggle with substances or addiction, this might not be the episode for you. I will be here back next Wednesday. You can watch the other episode that I already posted, but you don't have to watch this one or hear this one. It's not necessarily, okay? Your mental health is more important than just a podcast, so please keep that in mind. And then second disclaimer is that even though I think alcohol is a toxin and you should not be putting it into your body, if you drink, I will not judge you. All of my family drinks. My family is like a huge party drinking family. My husband drinks. I have friends that drink, so it's not a big deal. I'm not like a demon that is gonna be like, oh, you have to stop drinking. No, I literally don't care. If you have a good relationship with it and you can control it and you can limit it to whatever point you don't make harm to others or to yourself, then you have the power. I don't have that power because my brain is the brain of an addict, and I am jealous of you because you can have a good relationship with it, but I just can't. So that's why I'm here on this podcast. Now, further ado, welcome to One More Mile podcast. I am Paula and I am your host. Happy New Year, happy 2025. We have a lot of goals, and probably some of you may have the goal of doing dry January, like I used to do 4 years ago before I went sober. So for a little bit of context, I am Paula and I am an alcoholic. I think I can say it. The word doesn't have a power in me anymore. And yes, I'm sober. I've been sober for a year and a half. And you can still be an alcoholic while being sober, because it means that if I drink a sip of alcohol, I'm gonna want more, because that's just how life is and how my brain is. So yeah, basically, every time I drink alcohol is like, well, I'm saying it's like a drug. It is a drug, but in my brain, it's just. I remember the first time that I tried it and that I felt the rush, the adrenaline. It was like being in a 2014 Tumblr movie. I was the main character, and alcohol gave me the courage that I never had. I was 13. I was with my cousins, and we were with these boys that we liked. My parents were at a family gathering, family party, and we sneaked in some alcohol that they had. We took it to the rooftop, and then we met up with these boys, and then we were just playing games and like drinking. And of course, I kissed one of the boys, and my cousin kissed another one of the boys, and we were teenagers just doing stupid stuff. And that moment, I felt amazing. I felt the courage that I never had. I felt my brain just doing like a million of things. And that was just the beginning of a journey that will be my downfall after all. And first of all, I don't want to make it sound that I have bad parents that allow me to drink. I just think it's also like society and the culture. I am from Ecuador. If you guys are from Ecuador, you know. If you know, you know. But my country takes pride into drinking culture and takes pride into, okay, who can drink the most, who's the most drunk, who can handle their drink the best, who parties more. That is my that is my culture, that is my country. And I think there's no other country in Latin America that takes pride like that in such this thing like alcohol. I think it will probably be Mexico. But then Colombians, they love to dance, and all these countries in the Caribbean, they love to dance and like showcase their cultural talent. But in Ecuador, our cultural talent is to drink and outdrink everyone, and we're very good at it. So of course, my parents, having been born and raised in Ecuador themselves, they grew up with this mentality of like, it's fine, it's just a beer, it's fine, she's learning, it's fine, she's a teenager. And if I got more drunk, they will grounded me and take my phone away, or like I was being punished. But it wasn't a big of a deal as if I was born and raised in another country. Okay, that's a little bit of social context that we need to understand this story. Later in life, I in my whole high school life, I used to drink. I went to parties. I was the life of the party, guys. And it's just like being a teenager and then going to college and experiencing all of this heartbreak. And I had a lot of body image and body struggles and my relationship with food and finding your own voice in this world. When you're a teenager, the whole world feels like it's gonna end, and it probably does. But yeah, just all of that while being a teenager, plus the alcohol, it was like a downfall. So my brain, a little damage. I'm pretty sure my brain got a little damage from all those years. And yeah, college, I was also the life of the party. I have until this day awesome friends. We had the best times ever. Like I have plenty of times that I love from my drinking days. I have plenty of stories that I can tell you guys. But I also have bad stories and stories that happen bad. I have times where I literally got too drunk that I was putting a fork into a light, like a light switch or whatever you connect the cables. So yeah, I have good stories and I have bad stories. But then it came New York, and with New York it came a monster. And by a monster I mean me. I was 21 in the city of my dreams, in this big apple cosmopolitan city that I saw in the movies. And you see Sex and the City and you see Gossip Girl, and then you see all those movies where they go out on dates and they have a drink and you have a cocktail. And what is a cocktail? Because how on earth I would have known what a cocktail was when I was 13, 14, 15 in Ecuador without being able to legally drink? I was just drinking any alcohol. Now it was the big deal. It was okay. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get a crafted cocktail. I'm gonna get a shaken martini, shaken not stir with extra olive oil and like a little bit. I said olive oil, extra olives. Or I'm gonna get an espresso martini. And until this day, I crave espresso martinis. Like I just missed it. I miss it. I love the taste. A lychee martini, a glass of wine with steak, like all of those things were something different for me. All of those things were something that I never tried and that I wanted to try so bad, and that I was like, wow, I need to have it all. I need to have it all. It doesn't fit in my hands. It doesn't fit in my body. It doesn't fit in my mind, but I need to have it all. Plus, I was getting to know my now husband. I was getting to know Dulo. We were dating. So he was taking me to all of these fancy restaurants and rooftops. And summer was for like a beer garden. And I don't even like beer, but I just go to drink because I liked it. And I was working in the restaurant industry. And if you ever work in the restaurant industry, especially in New York City, you know it's chaotic. You know it's crazy. You know it's insane. And you know, after your shift, you just want to drink a beer and a shot and call it a day. So I was drinking beers and shots every single day for the year and a half that I work in this restaurant, which is insane. Even I remember a story that I have with my cousin. He came to visit me for a few months, and we decided to go to a lot of bars in New York and to do a cocktail journey travesty. Since we didn't know a lot about cocktails, we decided to go to every single bar and order every single cocktail of the classic cocktails. So we sat down and we started with a martini, and then with an old fashioned, and then an Aperol Spritz and a margarita and espresso martini. And then after that, I can remember we were so drunk, we took the train. I have fell asleep on trains. I have throw up in places that I shouldn't have. I have done things that I regret with my whole life, and I have put myself in dangerous situations. And especially if you're a girl, I don't want to be the one that contributes to this speech that we have nowadays of like, oh, women can do this because it's dangerous. But you can go and drink until 3 a.m. as a woman and as a guy, because as a woman you're putting yourself in more danger, and that's just how life it is. And if you don't believe me, go do it and then face the consequences, because that's what happened to me. I think I can tell these stories now because it's been a while since it happened, and I think I've healed, or that's what I like to pretend that I did. But we were at a bar After work, I was working in this restaurant, and the restaurant had a sister restaurant. So the servers and bartenders for this sister restaurant came to the bar with our staff. We kind of like melted. Everyone was having fun. 1 a.m. I have to go home. I have to take the train. 2 a.m. I have to go home. I have 3 a.m. Everyone convinced me to stay because there was this guy that was gonna take everyone that live in Queens to Queens. We were in Manhattan. So by the time we have to leave, I'm like, okay, who's coming with us? No one was coming. No one was coming. It was just me and this guy. It was just me and this guy. Everyone is like, no, 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 go with him. He's nice. He's gonna drop you home. No, 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 go with him. It's okay. I went with him. Okay, and just a little bit of context. I was drunk. I can say that I was happy, like feeling happy. I wasn't fully drunk. So he couldn't take advantage of me in the way that you're thinking. But he drove to Queens. He parked the car in like this random street. And then I was feeling like a little tipsy. And then he was like, okay, let's do it now. And he touched my leg. And I was like, what? Let's do what? And he's like, come on. You know what you came for. Like, you know why you're in the car. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no. He's like, well, either you kiss me or like either he, you know, guys, you know what I'm talking about. He's like, well, either that or you can walk home. And I'm like, I'm going to walk home. And then he's like, you don't know where you are. I'm like, I don't care. He opened the door and kicked me off the car. And I know that sounds, I'm telling it very slightly, but I was very scared at the time. I was very scared. I called my mom. I called my boyfriend. Well, my now husband. I called Dulo. Dulo was in Texas. Dulo was like, why are you telling me like that? And then my mom was just like freaking out. My mom was like, where are you? I'm gonna pick you up right now. They didn't have a car at the time, so I don't know what she was gonna do. She's like, order an Uber right now. And I had a 4% battery. And then the Uber also saw me drunk, and I'm like, what if the Uber does something to me? I was crying. I was walking in heels. It was a walk of shame. I got home at like 4:30 a.m. The next day, my parents were just looking at me with like regret. I don't know if my dad ever found out what really happened. I think he just thinks that I came home drunk. But my mom was like, why would you put yourself on a situation like that? And I started thinking, and I was like, she's totally right. Why would I do that to myself? Why would I do that to myself? And just a little bit of how everything falls into place. The next day I went to work and I talked to one of the servers that was my friend, like, hey, this guy tried to do this to me. She started crying and she's like, oh, that guy actually, what? So you're telling me that I was in a car. I don't know if I'm gonna have to censor the word, but the word R that starts with R. You're telling me that I was in the car with a guy, an awful person, with a monster. And I got lucky because nothing happened to me. So that was my first wake-up call. And I think the second wake-up call, I had a lot of these traumatic experiences that happened with alcohol. Me embarrassing myself. Instead of being the life of the party, I was just the girl that everyone make fun of at the party. Because yeah, it's funny when everyone is laughing with you, but it's not funny when they're laughing at you because you can't control your drinking. I think I just couldn't. I had one drink and I keep thinking about the next one, and I keep thinking about, okay, how is this gonna end? Like, it's not gonna end because I have all this alcohol. Like, why would I end? Why would I just finish it in 2 drinks? And I think that's the difference between the brain of someone that is not an alcoholic versus the brain of someone that is an alcoholic. My husband, my mom, they can have 1 glass of wine at dinner and finish it like that. If I had 1 glass of wine, then I will be like, okay, next thing I'm ordering a margarita, and then the shots afterwards, and then we're gonna go to a bar and drink an espresso martini, and then like my brain just kept thinking about the next one, and I can't control it. And I don't want to do it because I can't. I just don't want to deal with it. I think what really was the breaking point of my whole alcohol journey and starting my sobriety was 2 things that went at the time were like linked together. It was the first year with Dulo that we were celebrating as boyfriend and girlfriend. I have never lasted that long with anyone, so I wanted to make it special, and I made it special. I took him on a helicopter ride. I bought him a really expensive watch, and I booked a special dinner for us. A really expensive dinner. And I spent like $1,000 something on that date. it was his birthday also, so I wanted to make it extra special. And we had the day of our lives. Helicopter was amazing. This was amazing. Blah, blah, blah. But the whole day, I was drinking. I was day drinking. Like I started drinking, I think at brunch. Like we had a little bit of lunch at my house. I took a glass of wine. Cheers, congrats, happy birthday, whatever. Then we went to the helicopter. We came out and we were burning time. So he took me to like a coffee shop, but it was like a nice restaurant coffee shop. So he had like a hot chocolate with something, and I had a margarita. Why am I having a margarita if we're gonna go to dinner later? Why? Because it was there. It was an option, and I had the option, so I'm just gonna do it. It's an anniversary. It's a special date, right? Next thing you know, we're at the restaurant, and it was a good friend of us that used to work there as a server, and he hooked us up with every single drink, like champagne, everything. He just kept the champagne coming and coming and coming and coming. And since it was free and it was there and I could drink it, I was binge drinking the champagne. Like my glass was never empty. And he just kept pouring it. And even Dula was like, maybe you should stop. Maybe you have enough, right? And I got mad. I'm like, what do you mean enough? And then I ordered like 3 cocktails. And then we had shots. So yeah, let's just say that I ruined the anniversary that I planned for him. I ruined the birthday gift that I had for him. I ruined everything. And until this day, I feel ashamed. I feel embarrassed. He has told me it's fine. Everything happens. Like, I know it wasn't your fault. I know you didn't mean to do that. It's fine. But at the same time, that took a huge, like my parents were ashamed of me. They made me feel so bad, and they had all the rights to do it. So I was like, maybe I am grown enough to be putting myself into these things. Like, I think it's done. I think I'm done. I think I need to change. And a few days later, I had my leg injury. Like, I think I had my leg injury around the same time. I can do a whole episode on my leg injury. But I went to a doctor and he told me, you're overweight. You need to lose weight. So you need to cut on some foods, blah, 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 blah. So I started cutting on sweets, on fried food. And guess what makes you freaking fat? Yes, alcohol. Cocktails, you know how many calories and empty calories are in a cocktail? Is not the same eating a cake that you can eat and use it as energy and sugar that you go and burn because you go running than drinking a shot of vodka or like drinking a lychee martini. Alcohol takes forever to leave your body, and alcohol fat is just different. So I was like, okay, I'm not dealing with this. I'm gonna become sober curious. So what I meant by that, and sober curious was something that saved my life for a period of time. So the people that are sober curious are the people that drink like moderate, or that drink only once a week, or it can mean different things to you. But for me, it meant drinking only 1 glass of whatever a week. So I will have to wait. Let's say, I think Friday or Saturday were the days that I was drinking. So if I were to go to dinner with Dulo, I will have 1 glass of wine. Or if I were to have beers with friends, I will have 1 glass, 1 shot, 1 this, 1 that, 1 cocktail, no more. And I did that for a few months. I think I did it for like 4 months. And that's the period when you start adjusting and when you start losing friends, of course, because imagine going from being the life of the party and the people that you always want to hang out and go to clubs and go to the bar and go to rooftops and happy hour, to being the person that is saying no to the next free drink, or to being the person that is saying no, we had enough at dinner, I'm just gonna go home. No one wants to hang out with you if they met you like how you were before. So I lost a bunch of friends that weren't real friends, because I still have friends that drink till this day and they haven't judged me. So all the people that left were people that weren't good friends. And I remember the last drink that I had when I went fully sober was the 4th of July of 2022, I believe. Yeah, because in 2023, yes, because in 2025 is going to be 2 years. So that 4th of July, my good friend Alfonso, he is a bartender. He and my whole family and his wife, we went to watch the fireworks in Long Island City. And he made some margaritas, and he was making margaritas on the street. It was really fun. We had a great time. We watched the fireworks and everything. But since the margarita glass that he was using wasn't like a full glass, I didn't know how to count that that drink. That was my weekly drink. So I was like, okay, is this one glass or is it gonna be two, because this is bigger than what a restaurant will, this is smaller than what a restaurant will give me. A restaurant will give me bigger, and I'm counting on restaurants, and I want to drink two because it will be like one. I was doing all this math in my head, and my dad was like, just drink it. Like, life doesn't have to be that complicated. And I thought about it, and I'm like, okay, I'm making life complicated because I can't control myself with alcohol. Because if I have only one is never gonna be enough. One is never enough for an alcoholic. One is always the door that opens for the other one. One is the door that opens up for the next shot, the next cocktail, the next beer, the next glass of wine. One is never enough, and one is always too much. So after that, I went home and I decided that I was gonna be fully sober. And ever since, I haven't drank a sip of alcohol. I have to admit, sometimes I miss it. I do miss an espresso martini. I do miss the feeling nowadays. If everyone is drinking around me and everyone is having a great time, I'm like, oh God, I miss it. But if I'm home, or if I'm with my friends, if I'm at work, if I'm at dinner, if I'm on a normal daily basis, 99%, I don't miss it. Now I can say that my life has turned 180 degrees. My health is so much better now. I fell in love with running. I started my own run club, Goats Run Club, with my friend Walter. I met some awesome friends along the way. I've also learned to value the friends that I kept from all those days and from all those years. And it is weird, when I went to Ecuador in August, these people met me drinking. Like, I met a lot of these people while drinking. And I had a birthday party, and I was the birthday girl, and I wasn't drinking. I was serving alcohol to everyone, and I wasn't drinking. And we still had an awesome time. It was bittersweet because I felt like I was gonna relapse, but I didn't, and I was proud of myself. And I think I only have the memories that I made with them, of the funny times, of all of the crazy things that we did while drinking. But when you think about your mental health and your body health and your overall wellness, and you put yourself first, you do whatever you gotta do to survive and to be capable of controlling your own body. Because I wasn't controlling my own body, alcohol was controlling me. I was planning my life, thinking about the next drink, thinking about the next cocktail. I was planning my life, thinking about the next day that I was gonna be hungover. I was planning my life over all those things, when in reality, you should be planning your life accordingly to your goals, not about a substance. Nowadays, if you invite me to any party, a birthday party, a holiday party, a business party, whatever party there is, if you invite me to a party, I'm gonna have a great time. I'm gonna drink a seltzer water, I'm gonna drink a Diet Coke, and if I'm feeling extra, I'm gonna drink a Red Bull, and I'm gonna have the time of my life. And trust me, I'm gonna become the life of the party, and I'm gonna make you have a good time, because I've learned how to cope with my demons, and I've learned that my brain doesn't work the same as others. My brain is very all or nothing, and that even happens with food. My episode with my relationship with food is coming soon, but with food is something that I really have to control and learn how to deal with it, because how am I not gonna eat, right? I need to eat to survive. But alcohol, you really don't need alcohol to live. It's just like an extra thing that people do to cope with whatever they have. But I really don't need it. So I decided to quit it completely. I have blocked friends, and I have lost some people because they told me, oh, what you're doing is wrong. You need to drink. Just learn how to do it on a moderate way. Like, learn how to just drink one and then stop it. Like, it's bad if you cut everything. Everything is bad on excess. You are preaching this thing that is bad. Being sober is bad. What? When do you tell someone, like, oh, doing cocaine is bad, doing drugs is bad, don't just do it once a week? You never tell that to someone. Just because alcohol is socially accepted doesn't mean that I have to do it. It doesn't mean that you have to force me to do it. Just like I don't force you to stop it, and I don't preach to you that you have to stop it. That's up to you. If this episode changes anything in your mind, just a tiny bit of something, and you are reevaluating and rethinking the relationship that you have with alcohol or with any other substance, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I need to stop. Maybe I need to stop for a month and see how it would affect me or how I'm gonna react. If this episode makes you do that, then my mission is done. But I'm not gonna force it to you. That is a journey with you and yourself only, and your body and your mind and your soul. I had my journey, you have your journey. You may not have a journey because you know how to control yourself, and that's totally fine, and I envy you. But let's not judge other people's journey just because yours looks different than mine. Okay, my friends, that was it for this episode. If you are doing dry January and it's a goal to you to stop drinking, you have this. Trust me, it gets easier and easier. Or maybe it just doesn't become easier, it's as hard as it was. You just become stronger, but you learn how to cope with it, and you learn how to make life something out of addiction, and you heal. Trust me, you will heal. And if you have any other goal for this year, I hope you reach it, and I'm sending you the best energy out there for you to achieve your goals this year. 2025 is going to be our year. I have a lot of goals, I have a lot of plans, and I really hope you achieve all of the plans that you have too. Remember that we have an episode every Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I'll be here as well. All of my links are going to be linked everywhere: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, every single thing. And I can't wait to see you on the next week. Bye, guys. Love you.